Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Noel Zone. I hope you're all doing well on this Halloween. Load of me arse. But anyway, yeah, it's Halloween tonight. So fun times tonight. Ted's gonna be all over the place, because of the fireworks. Nobody has consideration for the pets and animals. But there you go. So before we start the stream, obviously make sure that your pets are indoors tonight, folks. We hear a lot, especially Halloween and New Year's Eve. We do hear those stories of dogs being spooked and run away from home. And, in some cases, unfortunately, the owners never see their dogs again. But other times they do. But make sure your pets are all locked up and stuff. Also tonight, 6 o'clock, we have a special movies on. I'm doing it early because, as I said, the fireworks and stuff like that. So I want to be keeping active during the fireworks, speaking loud and stuff, watching the movie. Hopefully that helps with Ted. We're trying to keep the volume up in the house so Ted doesn't get distracted by the fireworks. So we'll have that movies on tonight. Lindsay asked us to do Halloween. I do like the movie, but I'm not a huge fan of the franchise. But she did ask. She was the first one to ask if we could do one for Halloween. So here we are. So we at 6 o'clock we'll be doing Halloween, the original 1978 version. Trailer's gone up anyway, folks. If you want to take a look. And as I said, we'll be here at 6. Christian should be with us in just a few minutes time. But obviously, we've had some news in the celebrity world. Matthew Perry has passed away, and the public reaction kind of reminds me of when Princess Diana died. Um, I I get that Friends was a huge show. I get that people watched it. I even watched it myself, but was I mad about it like everybody else was? No, not particularly. But by the reaction of the public, he obviously meant a lot to a lot of people. Obviously, you know, watched a few interviews of his. Obviously, he's had his struggles throughout his life, and that's what he wants to be remembered for. He doesn't want to be remembered for Friends. He wants to be remembered, for the past troubles that he had and how he got himself sorted and start helping other people. This told me today that he actually sold his house in Malibu to turn it into a kind of a halfway house to help non-violent addicts and stuff like that. So that's what he wants to be remembered for. But of course, the public won't remember him for that. They'll remember him for Friends and all of that. But yeah, there's a hint of Princess Diana um, uh, syndrome going on here. You know, people look. I do it myself. There's a couple of celebs. So Bobby Charlton passed away, and I got very upset. I do get it. I do get it, but some of it is just absolutely way over the top. Of course, obviously when there is a celebrity death like that, there's always going to be rumors flying around. Apparently, he took a heart attack in his jacuzzi, but apparently they're holding back on it because they want to know whether he drowned first or whether the heart attack finished him off. Of course, he was one of these celebrities that was fully vaccinated and was proud to come out and say he was fully vaccinated. So you can imagine that the people that believe that the vaccine and COVID were used to depop the global population. Of course, they've all come out and I said that that's what they believe is behind it. But Matthew Perry had a very checkered background. I just have to point that out that he did abuse substances and stuff like that. And for anybody that does, these things catch up with you as you get older. You might be having fun, partying away when you're younger, but of course, these things actually catch up because you do damage to your body at the time. It's just the long-term effects then. So I wouldn't be jumping the gun, but there are too many celebrities and sports stars just dropping, and I think we do have to question that. Other news: Snow White has been put off until 2024 now, or 2025. Sorry, or 2024. I don't really care. But apparently, they got rid of the diversity dwarfs, and they put up what you call it, CGI. So this is what they've done, right? So after making a big, huge deal about the 7 dwarfs being diverse, they went completely the opposite way, and they've got rid of them all, and they've gone back to the original CGI versions. Should have just done that in the first place. But she still looks ridiculous as Snow White. The movie is ruined because she's in it anyway. Nobody's going to watch it. She's in it. Listen, Disney, you're reworking the whole movie, right? Okay, that's what you're doing. So this is your opportunity to replace her, right? Because she is not going to make this movie successful. Anyway, South Park is obviously in the news as well because they came after, well, basically everybody, especially Kathleen Kennedy and Disney and all of this multiverse nonsense. And Gina Carano then wrote up a big long post, which was just the final nail in the coffin for me. And as you know, I always believed, that if you're going to sack Gina Carano, you should have sacked, Pedro. I don't think any celebrity should be coming out with political nonsense when they're representing a TV show and all of that, but anyway, she did pull up a brilliant post, and she actually shed a bit of light on stuff and how Disney operate as well, and it was a slam dunk. Listen, Kathleen Kennedy's position is now untenable. It has been for a while, but I think this South Park, I think the gloves are off. I think certain parts of the industry now are fed up with what's going on, and they're rightly calling it out now. The tide is starting to change, but it's still a bit on the slow side. Anyway, we've got me co-host with me. Let's see if he has to add to any of this Kathleen Kennedy stuff. Listen, for me, I've been watching South Park from the very beginning, and it's gone through a phase where it's not been so good, but it's still been funny, but this one was definitely, look, they've done a few, the streaming wars, they did the pandemic one, and then they've done this one. And I think their specials have really upped the game the last couple of years. But this one by far, the Pandaverse, I'm telling you now, guys, if you haven't seen it, you have to go and watch it. I mean, it's just everything that's wrong with Hollywood, laid bare, Disney, Marvel, you name it. It doesn't matter what franchise it is, what studio it is. This all lays it bare. And, Kathleen Kennedy is certainly not going to be happy. I don't think Bob Iger is going to be happy either. Bob could change this now. He could actually look at that South Park episode and say, do you know what? They're probably right? And have the balls to do what you should have done all of these years ago, right? You should have sacked Kathleen Kennedy, right? That's what you should have done. You should have sacked her when she screwed up the very first time, right? Actually, you should have sacked her when she came out with all of this, the farce, the farce is female or whatever the fuck it was she came out with, right? That's when you should have sacked her. right? But you didn't. You didn't have the guts, the balls, or whoever was there before you. I don't know, because you swapped and changed so much now as CEOs. I don't know who was in charge at the time. But not what he has had the balls to do what needed to be done. He's let this woman continue to destroy Star Wars. So now, here's your opportunity now. South Park has actually laid it out really well, where you have gone wrong. If I were you, I'd listen to those lads, right? Because I could tell you now, right now, those two lads could write a better Star Wars movie than the people that Kathleen Kennedy has gotten to do the job. They would do a better job. Anyway, here's Christian from The Legend of the Traveling Tardis.
Oh, that had some good stuff.
They could do a better job. They could do a better job than Kathleen Kennedy. Absolutely, 100%. She is just way... Listen, nobody see, this is the thing that shocks me, right? She has worked with the very best in Hollywood. Right? And then people are saying, well, how is she so crap? Well, did it ever occur to you that maybe the woman has been stealing a living all of these years and hasn't actually been very talented at all? And the fact of the matter is that these men that she worked with, she latched onto and basically has no personal success herself. Like, you know, we got J.J. Abrams, you know, the female Kathleen Kennedy. Do you know what I mean? He's a grifter as well, right? He literally has no talent, but has ended up in these big movie studios and promised the moon and the stars and has never delivered. Never delivered. Never delivered on that he said he was going to do. Right? He drags things in, and then they just say, feck it, we're cancelling it. But he keeps the money. It's a scam. He's absolutely no talent. Right? She's absolutely no talent. People have to stop saying, because they work with this person and work with that person, they've got to be talented. No. Sometimes, you know, people like that just happen to get lucky. And that's what I believe. She's gotten lucky all of these years. Right? But now that she's finally in charge of something, you're seeing it. She's an absolute hack. She cannot do the job that she was brought in to do. That job was too big for her anyway. Right? They wanted to bring Kathleen Kennedy in, fine. But you bring someone else in with her. Right? You don't leave her in charge of Lucasfilm. It's as simple as that. Right? And that's why Star Wars is in the situation that it's in. And it's not going to recover. It's not going to recover. Everybody's taking the piss out of it now. And rightly so. It's not Star Wars. Never was Star Wars, and it never will be Star Wars. Right? It's a fucking cheap imitation for all of these little wankers out there that, you know, want these characters to be bi, lesbian, trans, or whatever fucking nonsense that Kathleen Kennedy inserts into this. They don't give a shit about any of the characters. Right? It was the same with, what's that, Rose Tico, whatever her name was. Remember all that controversy a few years back? Was she a lesbian or something and everybody was losing the shit, or bisexual or whatever it was? Like, that's what those fans get obsessed about and moan about, right? That's it. Do you ever hear them talking about the character? No, but when they do talk about the character, they always like to bring on, well, this scene here shows that they were actually bisexual. And you're wrong. They don't like sausage. They like the both of them. Right? Sick of this bollocks.
Well,
right?
That's the thing. It's just...
Go on, Christian.
We have
Sorry.
people in the, challenging fandom is one thing, but challenging is just like, are you perverted? Are you perverts? Do you really care what's going on in the bedroom? I'm watching on the screen as well. Well, that's proof that what you're saying is, or they're trying to push his agenda. It's like, this is, this is proof that. I'm like, how disgusting are you? I remember when I was growing up in the 80s, and I agreed with them, with the LGB community.
Yeah, when it was
That
LGB.
when it was LGB, they just basically say, "Hey, we just want to live our lives, stay out of our bedroom," and I totally agreed.
Yeah.
Now, today, 2023, the alphabet community is coming out and saying, "You will not only enter my bedroom, you will appreciate what goes on in my bedroom." I'm just like,
Exactly,
are you
but
freaking
no,
perverts?
shit.
This is a family movie. I don't care who's doing what or who's banging what or what. I care about.
That's
Hey,
the point.
Are they going to survive the Empire this time? I mean,
that's the point, mate. But you make a valid point there. We don't care about that shit, right? We don't care what you do in the bedroom. We don't tell you. We don't preach and tell you what we do in the bedroom. So we don't want to know what you fuckers do in the bedroom. All right. And
it's not that. It's got nothing to do with the story. I never watched a sci-fi thriller and go, "Oh,
you want to see Han Solo bang bleeding Obi-Wan or something."
Unless it's going to move the movie, like the romance between Han and Leia. It moved the movie, and it actually inspired what happens in the sequels. That's the point. And if you're going to do it, do it. Don't make it a big deal. And just like, look at this. Look what we done. Look what I'm like.
No, but the romance between Han Solo and Leia worked. I mean, there was that confusion with Luke at first. He didn't realize it was his sister, and he was kind of coming on to her, and I was kind of like, "Ew, that's a bit icky." But the Han Solo Leia story, like, it was brilliant, like, because you could tell, like, they were mad for each other, but you knew straight away that Han and Leia were never going to work out. They were never going to work out. I mean, even in the new movies, okay, they showed that it didn't work out, but you could even tell from the old movies. You didn't even need a movie to show it. You kind of knew that they were going to have this love-hate relationship, right? And it was going to be very passionate and fiery and stuff, because you could tell she was no slouch. That's the thing that people forget. You know, I hate the Super A fans when they say, "Oh, she's more powerful than Leia and all this, and she's more feminine than Leia." No fucking way. Leia was a badass and took no shit off anybody. Man, woman, alien, you name it. She took no fucking shit. She risked her own fucking life. If you remember, in a fucking, obviously we're seeing it in Rogue One, to get that fucking information about the Death Star. Do you know what I mean? She risked her own life along with others. Obviously in Rogue One, we're seeing others risk their lives as well. But it didn't diminish what Princess Leia did either. And she was never a slouch or a pushover. She was a fucking true bleeding fucking warrior. Right, that one. And I'm sick of these fucking... And even the way they portrayed her in the new movies, an absolute fucking disgrace to her character. And I can understand why she came back, because they do, that original cast do love that franchise. Harrison Ford not as much as the rest of them. But Leia, but what's her face? Fucking Carrie Fisher and fucking Mark Hamill. They loved this franchise, and they loved everything about it. It's just fucking such a shame. Those legacy. Look, you wanted to do Star Wars, right? What you should have done was, when they were all fucking live, you should have done a legacy fucking movie. That's what you should have fucking done, right? Legacy fucking movie, right? None of this fucking Funko Pop fucking Star Wars. That's what I call it. Funko fucking Pop Star Wars. That's all you want to do. It's all for merchandise. It's not proper fucking Star Wars, right? And I'm glad South Park called them out. And you know what? South Park has been calling out for years and years. And now it is true. Those two boys now will be targeted. You know, Kathleen Kennedy will get the media, as Gina Carano suggests. She'll get the media like the Hollywood Reporter and all of these other shill fucking magazines to go after these now, and to try dig up dirt on these fuckers. Wait, you bleed and see. They'll try cancel the two of them. But the one thing that these gobshites don't realise is that people have been trying to cancel those two riders from day fucking one. And every celebrity and everybody that's bitched and moaned about them has failed miserably. So Kathleen Kennedy, this is a battle you're not going to win. The best thing you could do, and Bob, if you're listening, the best thing you can do is sack the woman. Get rid of her, right? And then you might have a chance of salvaging not just the Star Wars brand, but Disney its fucking self. And if you have any smarts as well, you get rid of Rachel Ziegler because nobody wants her as fucking Snowy. She's an awful fucking human being, right? Anytime she opens her fucking mouth, she's upsetting someone. She's annoying someone with that crap that she's coming out with. You get rid of her. End of story. Replace her with Jenna Ortega. I don't even think Jenna Ortega is Snow White material. But compared to fucking Rachel Ziegler, I would take Jenna Ortega. Do you know why? Because she doesn't go down with this woke fucking nonsense. And you know what? If anybody deserves a fucking big break with fucking Disney, it'd be fucking Jenna Ortega, and I'd love to fucking see it, right? Just for the fact that she's not for all of this woke fucking nonsense, because she said it about Wednesday as well when all these little Muppet fans start coming out then tried to ship her off, and she said no, Wednesday is not going to be shipped, so get with the fucking program basically, right? So that's who you replace her. Jenna Ortega, give her the fucking job, right? And keep the CGI Seven Dwarfs. I do like that, but in fairness, you know what I mean, what you should be really doing is actually bringing in seven what's the right word for it? Seven little people. Is it little people?
I don't even care anymore. You know what? You put so much apathy in me. I don't care. Oh, look, this has changed. I don't care. I have not seen one live action movie. Not one. I've only seen them broken up on YouTube channel. Well, I just don't. I'm just like, no. It was the same thing with KK. It was just like, yeah, you remember that shirt deal? It's like when they exposed it. I'm just like, hey, Kathy, I just did a search and I've typed into Google how many males are fans of Star Wars. 60%. So you just basically threw out a shirt of more than half of your audience, and you just gave them the middle finger by doing that. And they grew up with Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they grew up with attachments to those characters. And you are saying right now on a T-shirt, you know, screw you, the guys. You know, the guys who kept spending money, watching hours over and over again of this great classic show, probably dumping money into the prequels, supporting it that way. And, you know, some people were like, oh, God, this is awful. But they still stuck it out. Those 60% you're just kissing off. I'm like, good luck. I can't. You know, there's disagreements on, I'm sure you've had it on your show. I've had it on mine. But I'll never tell anybody to piss off or just say, well, you know, my show's only for a certain demographic. I would be gone. I couldn't last. My show is for everybody who wants.
You just keep talking there. I just have to do something real quick.
No, that's fine. And I'm sure I agree with that. Our demographic is for people who want to listen to us, who want to participate, and who want to have, you know, who want to have a dialogue. And I think that's the way that it is. And once you start saying, no, this is not... You know, what was it with the mainstream media going, no, this show is not for you. Okay. So I would start walking out. And as I start walking out, there's that same mainstream media coming up and going, where are you going? And I'm like, you told me this show is not for me anymore, so I'm going to leave. Well, you shouldn't leave. Why? What am I here for? It's not for me. You just told me it's not for me. So you don't get my money. You don't get my blood, sweat, and tears. You do not get my time. You do not get my patience. All of that's important to me. And if you can't justify why I'm here, I'm not sticking around, dude. It's not going to happen. And you can call me all the names and everything that you want. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But I'm just like, well, you told me to leave. This wasn't for me. And I've never understood that mentality of pushing fans out the door. The Force is for everybody. The Force encapsulates certain people with whatever if you believe in the prequels now, the blood thing, or whether the try or whatever the heck that stuff was. But only certain people get the Force. Now today, everybody gets the Force. So everybody's the Force, the Force, the Force, the Force. And it cheapens it. It really, in my mind, cheapens it. Well, if everybody can do it, what's so powerful about this thing? Why do we have Jedi? Everybody can be a Jedi. Why do we have a distinct class? Why do we have the Sith? Anybody can be mean. Anybody can be a Jedi. Anybody can use the Force. So what makes it so valuable? It's not. It's that mentality of we give an award for participation because you played soccer and your team lost big time. No, it's not. This is real life. People have certain talents and skills, and they should be appreciated when they do good things with those talents and skills. Only certain people are going to be playing basketball. Only people can go into being a police officer. Only certain people can be firefighters. Only certain people can work in the medical field. That's just the way it is. It's not a bad thing. Not everybody can be a trophy winner for participating in something.
No. I mean, look, I was shy. Look, I got a bit good to tell you a little story, right? When I was a kid, I was bit of a softie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the top of me up, my dad sent me to play a bit of GAA and stuff like that. And then I joined boxing for a brief time, but I didn't like that. Actually, my first fight didn't end very well. I ended up on my back, but we won't get into that. I mean, in a boxing ring, it wasn't out of the streets or anything. But I wasn't. Got to be honest, I wasn't the most gifted when it came to sport. Now, later on, as I got a little bit older, I got a little bit better at football. That's soccer for people out there, or GAA. And what you call it, as I said, it wasn't the best. I always came last, right? I was always picked last for teams. Right? The thing about it was, but here's the thing. Right, every time there was a sports thing or anything, right, even though I knew those things were going to happen, I was going to be picked last and all of that, it made me more determined each time. Then eventually it came to the point where when I got a little bit older, where I was either getting picked first or second because I'd improved. I you know what I mean? I didn't whinge and bitch about it, say, oh, it's not fair I'm being picked last. I just got on with it because I was still part of the game, right? Even though I wasn't picked first, I was still part of the game. It wasn't as if people weren't willing to give me the ball. They'd still give me the ball. Like they'd be giving out to me, oh no, you lost the ball again, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it was always like, I wouldn't say as kid, it was constructive criticism because kids can be really harsh sometimes. But I used that criticism to make myself better. So by the time I joined the school football team, I started off in midfield, but I wasn't working out. So then the manager one day says, here, we'll just stick you up front and see how that works. And I was top goal scorer for like 3 seasons in a row for the school football team. And then when I went to college, then I was part of that football team. I was striker for them as well. And actually a funny story, our goalkeeper for the school football team ended up in a rival college, and the very first game was against him. And I remember him coming up to me at the halfway line before we tipped off. We were talking. I was asking him how he was and all this. He says, you won't score against me today. And I just looked at him and said, I'll score within the first 3 minutes of this game. And that's exactly what happened. I lobbed him. I got the ball and I saw him off his line. I said, you know what, you cocky little fucker, this is what you're going to get now. And I lobbed him. And then by the second goal, then he tried to actually break me legs because that's how we play football. But I never once did I cry or did I care. If I lost, I lost. That was it. You know, of course, it's hard to take your kid. You want to win. But I knew I wasn't good enough. But in order for me to be good, I have to go out and better myself. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did, man. And that's why I hate kids there. I mean, I'm seeing videos, right? Apparently, today's young people cannot hack a 9-to-5 job. Have you seen the videos that have been floating around on social media of all of these blokes and girls crying because he had to work 9 to 5? Listen, for a minute, I worked 15 fucking hour shifts, right? When I was working in fucking kitchens, I nearly worked 17 hours out of a 24-hour fucking time period, right? I got little or no fucking sleep, right? I was falling into bed some fucking times, and then literally I'd get asleep, and then I'd be awake a fucking hour later, right? To have me fucking dinner, to travel to fucking work again, to work a full fucking shift. Not once did I fucking moan. Not once. And these kids can't even hack a 9 to fucking 5. I tell you something, we have really fallen as a society when you've got people out there saying, oh, employers must accept me time blindness. Now it's, oh, I can't hack 9 to 5 jobs, or college is a scam. Well, it is in America. I mean, college is a scam.
I will be the first.
I'll agree with that one. In America, it is definitely a scam.
Let me tell you
broke before. Go on.
Let me tell you this on this side. I remember when a friend of mine, won't say her name, but I just remember she's one of those that said that she shouldn't pay for college. And I took big offense to it. And she was trying to convince me, it's like, well, you don't want me to pay for college, did you? And I said, I did. And she goes, well, what did you do? And I said, I worked 3 jobs while I was going to college. Let me rephrase that. I worked 3 jobs, was on the student government, and helped perform in the theater department while going to college. And she goes, well, you don't want me to pay my college degree? And I said, no, you can do what everybody else does, quit. I didn't ask you to go to college. You did. You went and thought, hey, I can do this. You didn't assess the risk. I didn't either. I had to pay off those loans, and that college degree really, it helped a little, but not as much as I would have liked to. I'm not making, the type of money I would like to be making. That's not my employer's problem. My employer told me, hey, we'll take you. We think you're a cool guy. Here, this is what we have to offer. And I took it. Wasn't forced to. Nobody held a gun to my head. I took what was out there and did it. And I've been here for quite some time. Do I love it? To a certain extent, because they've taken care of me. It's not the dream job I wanted, but it's something that I can, it keeps a house. It keeps me, roof over my head, food on the table, a car to drive around in, and I can go places, and I can spend money at conventions, and do, and save up money and do stuff I want to do. That's my responsibility, not theirs, and not anybody else's. It's no different than, I think, if a kid buys a Ferrari outright. The problem is that today's society is gone completely wonkers. Because that same little girl, when I was growing up, was told, I want a Ferrari, Dad. Well, you're going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to start, get a job. You're probably going to have to drive a used car for a while, but once you get used to it, and you get your own money, and you decide how the value of money works in this society, then you can decide what you want to do with it. Today, they just go on their OnlyFans site, and somehow they have the money. But they also have to realize that only works certain ways. I mean, it's rare that somebody's going to get 7 figures out of that, let alone 6 or 5 or even 3. You might not even get anywhere with it, but everybody is the Ralph Cramden today. They want to make a quick buck and, are trying to find these fast ways of doing it, and they blame society. Well, and it's like, dude, there are people who came before you who had it worse. You are so lucky you have a phone that you can pull up your computer on. None of us had that. If we wanted that, there was something called the Dewey Decimal System at our libraries. That's how we got our information. We had to drive out and get that information, or wait until we went to school. You are lucky. You're the generation that has privilege, that you don't have to worry about this stuff. But you should respect what came before and appreciate what you have now, because that could be easily taken away. And once it's taken away, our society, I think, cracks. If you just imagine taking some kid's cell phone away for more than an hour, do you think they won't go completely ballistic? They couldn't live with it. They couldn't do something else. They couldn't imagine something else. They couldn't have a discussion with somebody unless it's on the phone. And it's pretty sad. me, 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 me. You know, the society who blames everybody else for getting privilege is the ones who are privileged. Projection seems to be the main course on this menu in 2023, and everybody's eating off of it. And they're expected to get everything they want just because they breathe. That's the only requirement in their eyes. I live, I breathe, I'm young, give me stuff. No. Like respect, you have to earn it, and you have to earn everything that you can. It's not going to be handed to you on a dish. And at some point, even though you might earn respect, that can fade away easily. All glory is fleeting. And it's disgusting the way that it is just being drawn out. And it's not helping because our social medias or corporations, they're vesting into that. And I remember when a corporation, win or lose, their goal was to make money. I don't know how anybody's making money off of what the current system is now.
They're not. See, they compensate. See, they're not making money. I think what happens is that the studios that pander are being paid by these groups, right? So it's a bit of compensation for basically the losses. Like the losses, they're making big losses, Disney, but it's probably being compensated by these NGOs and all of these other, all of these activist groups, and there's money being pumped in. You got to remember as well, you got the man-made climate scam. You've got those nuts as well, and they like to, with the new movies now, incorporate a bit of the climate change nonsense into it. So they're all being paid. Like they all get money for doing this. This is the thing. This is why they've been able to lose the money that they've been losing. But I think it's gotten to the stage now where the activists and all of these groups, they're starting to lose their grip now on society, because you see now there is a backlash to almost everything now, and they see that, and the end is coming, and studios actually see that. That's why Bob Iger came out with the comments that he came out with a couple of weeks ago, when he says that they were going to do less of what they have been doing because it hasn't been working, because they've lost money. They're going to go back to what made Disney great, basically. That's what he said. So he knows. They all know. They all know. I mean, that famous clip of fucking James Cameron, oh no, Steven Spielberg, I think it was, going to fucking Tom Cruise. You saved their asses. You saved the industry with Maverick. If that movie hadn't been released, we don't know the state of Hollywood be in. We'd probably be sitting here right now. Forget about the writers' fucking strike and the actors' fucking strike. There'd probably be no fucking work for them. That Tom Cruise literally has carried Hollywood on his back these last couple of years with the movies that he's been putting out. He's the only one that will put out a movie to actually entertain. He doesn't give a fuck about the pandering. Even The Mummy, right? That Universal movie, it's fucking shite, right? But the thing about it is, does it pander? Does it do any of that nonsense? No, it doesn't. It fucking doesn't. None of these movies do. He just wants to make movies to get butts into fucking seats, to support the industry that he actually fucking loves. You know? And if we had more actors and actresses like him, right, that were willing to do that, put back themselves, like Tom Cruise has backed himself for fucking decades now, right? He's got his own production company. Obviously, he had a falling out with the other person, and now he's got his own production company. But he's always backed himself. Other actors and actresses out there that feel the same way as Tom Cruise does and wants to just make movies to entertain should back themselves as well. We need more of them. And the more those people come forward, then it's undeniable that Hollywood has to fucking change and has to change first.
It wasn't the fact that they were pumping out movies. And first of all, two things. Scottish Davros, we understand. I know, and I know you would work your butt off, but I'm talking about people who are upright, physically fit, for the most part, if they're not totally overweight these days. But I mean, people who are physically fit to do it. They can get out of bed. They can get clothes on. They can do the job. They just don't want to do it because they feel that they are better than the job that they're going out to. It's just like, well, there's the argument. It's just like, well, inflation and stuff like that. And I said, yeah, okay, you still going to starve? You got to start somewhere. You got to eat. You got to get more money. You need to raise money so you can't starve. And you have to prove to somebody that you're worthy of it. They don't have to prove to you what, the other way around. If that's the way it is, you're going to starve. Sorry. And when it came to, when movies started coming back online, Tom Cruise was the first one who volleyed a thank you to people. He gave a thank you and said, you know what, you could have done anything else today, but you came and saw my movie. So I'm here to even put a little more time in here to tell you thank you. And even though I'm not there, I respect that you came in here, that you are there.
You know what? Even
And that,
the fact that he went to some cinemas and sat there with the crowd, he probably didn't want to do that, right? I'm not saying that he's a perfect man. He probably didn't want to do that, but he thought, you know what? If I show me face, it might help the movie. It might get people to get their butts on seats. And he was willing to do that. But when he got there and you see him shake people's hands and being genuinely happy that people were watching his movie, I was like, you go, Tom, you go. And listen, the day he retires from acting, which I don't think will happen, to be honest, I think that Tom Cruise will go out either two ways, right? He'll be in his fucking 90s and still fucking acting like the greats, right? Or he'll be on a movie fucking set and he'll be doing this outrageous fucking stunt and it'll go wrong. And that'll just be typical fucking Tom Cruise anyway, wouldn't it? I mean, to go out like that, Tom is just, look, forget it. People always bring up about the Scientology shit. Well, I have to say, I think he's toned it down over the last couple of years. I never really speaks about it now. And I think he does have a bit of issue with them now at the moment. So, but I've never judged him because of his beliefs, right? Because
I could care.
Look what's happening in the world now.
It's the exact same thing when somebody comes in and goes, "Oh, okay, this person identifies." I don't walk into a movie thinking that. Who thinks that? Who thinks I don't? I'm like, I go to my friends, and some of them are into the LGBT community, and some of them are really diehard. But I'm not. I could probably ask him, and I know at least 100% of them are going to go, "Hey, when you walk into this movie, were you thinking, what the lead lady was banging or what they identify with?" No. I went in there because I wanted escapism. Reality sucks. And I came here because you said you had a product that took me away from this, took me away from all this crap, and brought me into a reality. And if you do have some woke message, that you have a great story to support it, so that when I leave this theater, I'm talking to my friends about it from days on, and you taught me a lesson, but you did it through talent and competence and leadership, and utilized all of that to make a wonderful story with great characterizations, with great directing, competent writing, to produce something that I'm going to. And Star Trek The Next Generation used to be that, all those years ago. I used to talk about those episodes, and there were even some of the Doctor Who episodes. I was like, kept me talking. I'm just like, you know what, that episode was awesome, taught me a lesson. And maybe it might have been a woke lesson, but it opened my mind to circumstances that I may not have appreciated had you not told me that story. And that is what great product in the industry is. It takes you away, and then say, I'm going to take you into my world. And it might be uncomfortable at times, but I'm going to show you all the aspects of things. I'm going to show you the Sith, the Jedi, the stormtroopers, the bad guys, the Empire, or I'm going to show you the Doctor or the Master, or I'm going to show you the Klingons and the Federation. I'm going to show you that, take you into a world, and you might learn a lesson or two. But I'm going to do this because I have the talent to tell this story, and I want to tell it in a way that everybody will appreciate that and still be talking about it years to come. That is what has been lost. It has become lazy. It has become just, there's some days I'm like, was this written by AI? Because I don't think a human being wrote this. It's so disgusting now that I've just turned my, every time there's a new movie out, I don't bother. I think the last movie I saw in its entirety was Deadpool 2. in a theater, because that's what I wanted. Fun. I wanted humor. I wanted to be lost. Yeah, there were some little pokes at today's stuff, but it was just little pokes and they went away. And it was surrounded by, well, a halfway written story, but I appreciated and I loved the characters and I liked Deadpool. And I think the last movie I've seen in its entirety was actually The Haunted Mansion, the new version of it. It wasn't bad.
That's what everybody said about that movie. That movie is actually a decent movie, but because of their reputation, the movie flopped, which is sad because it shows that they are capable of actually making decent content, and when they do, it gets ignored because there's the big elephant in the room, which is the fact that they've fucked up so many things at Disney. Do you know what I mean? So
there was people in it that I don't like appreciating the movies, but I said I'd give it a shot because I'm a big Haunted Mansion fan, and I did it. And on a side note, for me, because I used to work there, I had more of a better appreciation for the ride, and I grew up as a kid enjoying that ride. And I always thought if I was to write a Haunted Mansion movie, you already have great characters in that mansion. You don't have to bring in second and third parties to inflate it. In fact, the most recent movie, the only really bad thing that I had about it was that the Master Gracie was kind of just a side character. I always thought if we were going to write a movie, and I mentioned this to a few friends, I would like to do it as like a Crypt Keeper, or a Tales from the Crypt, where the host is Master Gracie, and he's actually taking you through the mansion, and you're getting the backstories on the Hatbox Ghost, the homicidal bride, and all the characters are in there, so that they would have more of a fleshed out backstory. And it's like you're being invited and you're not realizing that you may be the 1000th ghost as you're coming in there. That's the way I wanted to do it. You already have characters in there, and it wasn't a bad movie. It isn't something reflective of what I was expecting. Like I said, I don't know if anybody remembers, but there was a Tower of Terror movie starring Steve Guttenberg and Kristen Dunst at the time. It was okay. I mean, it was a made-for-TV movie, and that was kind of the same thing that I saw this mansion. It wasn't bad. It was actually half decent. It actually had a homage to a lot of the stuff that, if you're a big fan of the Haunted Mansion, you caught along the way. I just it wasn't the way I would tell it. But it was okay. It was a made-for-TV movie in my eyes. I accepted it. It was cool. But I still think they could have done a better job if you just stuck within the story. Having said that, yeah, first of all, it didn't help that a Haunted Mansion movie came out in July. You would think that would come out in October, or at least, the end of September, just for the timing. But you're right. At some point, I think the apathy is kicking into everybody. They're just like, I don't want to be a part of this culture where people are just, it's a freaking movie and people are destroying each other over it, or a TV series or something. They don't even want to be a part of it. It's like, you chased me out of this. There's been so much arguing, so much fighting on social media. I don't even care who's right or wrong. I'm done. And that's why you keep losing money, because you keep chasing the people you're supposed to be catering to. And if you're not going to do it, then don't do it at all. Because then you tell me you have no talent whatsoever. Or you are so lazy that you can only appreciate a certain amount of people, but not to get people into your way of thinking or appreciation, because you can't get that other half of your team. When I tell people about our show, I said it has to be the guy sitting across the table who is an LGBT community, sitting across the table from the guy wearing a MAGA hat. And they have to have a discussion without going after each other's throats on the focus of something that they enjoy together. And once you find that common ground, it's a great thing to do. KK, you don't have to wear the shirt. Everybody's included in this. Get everybody involved. Show them that you appreciate not only their time, their money, and their patience, which is important to everybody, but you appreciate them being there at the table with you. And then if you want to throw in a message or two, make it so that everybody appreciates that message. Because if not everybody can appreciate it, that's probably a bad message to begin with and should not be there at that table. There.
I agree with you, but Hollywood, unfortunately doesn't think like that. Kathleen Kennedy doesn't think like that. I mean, until they're gone or they change. But even if Kathleen Kennedy was to change course, I don't think people want her in charge of Lucasfilm. It's as simple as that. I think there's too many bridges burned. Other studios, though, can recover. I mean, Sony is quietly recovering. Nobody is really complaining about Sony as much as they were after the 2016 version of Ghostbusters dropped. But I think Sony have been one of the few studios that have actually changed course a lot faster than the rest because they've made some movies lately.
Well, I think after that,
what?
well, I think after that nonsense, it was just, yeah, it didn't even make sense. And the thing is, they keep forgetting. They're so high up on the on their mentality that they're better than the people that are criticizing them. They forgot that those same people are shelling out the money for them. You have to convince them why you want to watch that movie. And when you have, what was it, the director and two of the actresses coming out and just berating fans, I'm like, okay, you lost money. There's not going to be a sequel. And you're going to have people, buying the box set and realizing that movie's not part of the box set. They complained. They complained so much that their movie was not part of the box set that they had to insert a special code or something that you could get the movie. It was like, God, do you guys sound desperate?
I mean, Tardis time there says South Park into the Pandaverse is what I think tells you how it is. I agree about Sony. Sony made sure No Way Home wasn't shit. I agree, they did. They made an effort, and they unfortunately that movie was kind of ruined for me because it turned out that all of those leaks were correct, and whoever was leaking it, some suspect that it was Sony, but I doubt that Sony would leak the fact that the other lads were back. To be quite honest with you, when they tried to hide it in the actual trailer. Because if you see the trailer, they clearly hide it. When you watch that scene, there's definitely something hidden when you watch that trailer. And then when you see the movie, you see that it was a Spider-Man that they actually hid. Look, that movie today, I said I'm not even a Spider-Man fan per se, but I did like the Tobey Maguire movies. I mean, they're not all great, but I mean, I did like the first one, definitely. I did like the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. Again, they screwed up with the second one, just like they did with Tobey Maguire's one, I believe. But this movie, I said it at the time, and I'll say it again. That's the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
I'm going to disagree with you on one aspect.
Because for me, it was. I think it was absolutely brilliant to bring the three of them together. They all had their little individual moments. There was a bit of redemption as well. And I just loved the scene with the three of them. They chewed it up every time they were on screen together. For me, I found that the most enjoyable Spider-Man movie that I've ever watched. And I do like the first Tobey Maguire one with the Green Goblin. It's actually up there. I really do like that, even though at the time I remember people didn't, which is true. That movie only became a cult after the fact, but I like that movie straight away. Yeah, for me, it's definitely the movie with the three Spider-Man.
The only thing I'm disagreeing with, and not that I'd say it's a bad movie, I saw some of it online. It was an excellent movie, and I think it was built up because you already had the backstories on the three Spider-Men. You just had to put them together and had somebody who was competent to write the story. But as far as the leakage concerns, I doubt it. I'm sure Sony knew the leakage. They wanted to have it because that was the big reveal. And if it was already leaked, it wasn't going to be in the major trailers.
Look,
they were just going to mention it. And
I agree with you that they may have leaked some stuff, but to leak the main fucking thing of the photographs of the three of them together. Do you really think, seriously though, come on, that Sony would leak that? I think fan speculation was so high anyway. I don't think Sony needed to do that if they did do that, right? I'll say that to you, right? Because I think the hype was already there. Because
I think we lost you.
I remember there was a lot of hype for this. There literally was. It was everywhere. There was channels doing rumors everywhere. I was even watching them myself. Like as I said, I'm not per se a Spider-Man fan per se, but I even got hooked. I even got caught up in it. I really did. I got caught up in the hype, and I was like, oh my god, this is actually going to produce, isn't it? It's actually going to deliver, and it did. It did. I mean, look, no matter what we say about these movies, right, and the fact that it might be tired and or might fatigue or whatever people think it is, right? That movie showed that if they really put their minds to it, they show their heart and compassion and the love for the franchise as they did with that. I think you could get fans back on side with all of this superhero nonsense. For me, I'd be very selective for what I watch now, though, going forward, because I'm kind of fatigued myself. That's just me.
Yeah, we all are.
And I think there's a few people out there. I think the die-hard Marvel and DC fans will never be fatigued. But I think the casual audience, which I would class myself as one of them, I'm fatigued. I'd like to see it go away for a couple of years and then maybe come back with a fresh perspective and maybe do something different, but it's Hollywood. Let's see, Stavros says mainstream filmmaking has dried up. People like the Mega Geek, Ian, are saving filmmaking. Tardis Time says, I watched the 2016 Ghostbusters on TV, and despite all the political nonsense about it, I'm sorry, it was just a bad movie. The script is a complete mess. It is. I mean, the script is awful. I'll agree with you there. I think culture is definitely starting to shift back against wokeness. It's slow, but I think it's definitely started. Will be a few years, I reckon.
It wasn't the fact that people were, on top of that already, you already had a bad movie. Essentially, it was a paste and copy of the original, practically all the way, and then just SNLing it a little bit more with the girls. I mean, you knew who Ray Stantz was. You knew who Venkman was. You knew who Egon was. If you really look at those characters and say, oh, okay, that's a kind of the Hoover representation. I thought, and the way that they advertised in the trailer, they had mentioned that they acknowledged the first set of Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but they quickly backtracked and then put out. Yeah, but they quickly backtracked after that trailer became the most hated and most disliked on YouTube, and then they came out and said, "Oh no, Airbad, it's not connected. Here's a new trailer for you." So, that I think that trailer still remains to this day the most disliked. I could be wrong now, but at the time, it definitely was the most hated and most disliked trailer on YouTube. But they fucked up straight away, because you're right. First, they acknowledged the original franchise, but then they came out with a statement. So, oh no, sorry, we fucked up there. Here's a new trailer now. It's nothing to do with the original Ghostbusters. Blah 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 blah.
Well, they messed up because they gave us a little teaser of what was coming up, and it was like, no. This is the teaser. I hate to see what the trailer looks like. I'm not on board. And if they did it, they should have done it to where, okay, this
the trailer was worse. The trailer,
people already had an expectation set, and they were like, no, this is not the direction we go. We're still on the Titanic. No matter how much you want to repaint the outside of the boat, it's still the Titanic, and this is going to sink. So why are we even here? Either figure out a way to do like, oh, okay, They were talking about franchising it at the end of the movies. So how about the California division? And then you could have diversified it up a little bit more with, guys and girls and stuff like that. And then at the end of the movie, when the Ghostbusters were getting their butts kicked, the original Ghostbusters show up and go, "Hey guys, we heard you were having a hard time." That's the
No, but they wouldn't allow that. They wouldn't allow female Ghostbusters to get the shit kicked out of them, and then male Ghostbusters to come along and rescue them. Because remember, the new every female character now is a Super A in their own right. Like, they don't have any flaws. They don't have any weaknesses. Women now portrayed in movies, they're strong. They're strong like men. They don't have weakness, but male characters have weaknesses.
If they went with the Dan Aykroyd, which is his take on having like the new set of Ghostbusters, it was going to be a mixture of male and female, and it was going to be out franchised, and was going to be a little bit more. And I think they were actually even exploring to what his original concept of Ghostbusters was, that they were going to take in a little bit more into the supernatural, and I think maybe the multiverse, if that was whatever that was, but they were going to go a little bit more into the supernatural. And I think it would just been cool at the end of the movie, that team, even though they were kicking butt, they bit off more than they can chew. And who's there to save them? Ernie Hudson, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. Hopefully at that time it would have been Egon. And they would have been in there just helping them out, the new generation. It's just like they were paying homage. That would have been my way of paying homage to them. Just say, hey, yeah, guys, just remember about the past. We've done this before, but we think our future's in better hands now. I got to run, but guys, thank you for watching, and happy Halloween for those of you who are celebrating, and for others who are celebrating, happy Soween. And for those who are just enjoying the 31st this Tuesday, please stay safe out there. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment on the Noel Zone and the Legend of the Traveling Tardis. Today's the last day of our 31 days of Halloween, and if you don't want it to end, we've got thousands of pictures and videos that have come out on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page that you can enjoy, all of them with a little traveling TARDIS and Dalek Hal, who's now become a big figure on our show, just doing Halloween stuff and having a great time. So if you like spooky stuff, and we will be reviewing a certain 60th anniversary, and then in Christmas, we will be doing the 25 days of Hummus as we run from December 1st to the 25th in line for the Christmas specials premiering Shooty Gatwa's the 15th Doctor. So, we'll have a good time. And also on the 14th of November, you definitely want to catch Phantasmagoria. They're doing a holiday special for our show. We have previous shows on our YouTube channel that they've done. They're a Victorian horror troupe, and they usually do Christmas and Halloween stuff. This year, I think Lord Byron said he's going to do a mixture between the two holidays, so we will see, but we will know in about 2 weeks. So everybody, happy Halloween, happy sewing, whatever you're celebrating. Please stay safe. We'll catch you again next week. Love you guys, and thank you for being a part of us, because we can't do this without you. Scottish Davros, TARDIS Time, and everybody who's been watching, thank you for joining us. Please stay safe. Bye, guys. Thank you.
See you, Christian.
Won't you let me leave the studio? Oh, there we go.
Yeah. We seem to be having some there we go, technical issues. Anyway, we'll be back here at 6 o'clock for Halloween 78. So get your copy ready. Join me in an hour. Have the link set up already, so if you want to go into that chat there, go ahead. And I'll see you there. Obviously, if you're not going out with the kids, trick-or-treating or anything like that, or grown-up stuff, you've nothing to do, come and join us on this Halloween night. As you know, we try to do streams every Halloween, and we have over the last couple of years. So join us. I know it's on an awkward time because we have another movie zone coming up this week as well. But I did promise Lindsay that I'd do it. So I hope I see Lindsay in the chat later on, because obviously she requested this movie. So hopefully we'll see some of you with us. And then of course, if you've been watching some of our gaming streams, myself and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, aka Brandon, for anybody out there that knows him on Twitter, we've been doing some Call of Duty streams as well. So there's Ted. Are you all right, buddy? The fireworks it's just before 6 o'clock. The calm before the storm. 6 o'clock is when it all goes down, when we go live. So if you do hear Ted barking in the background, we're trying to keep everything up. Get me in there. Come here, wee little boy. Do you want to say hello? Say hello to everybody. Look. There, hold on. Happy Halloween! Say Happy Halloween! Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I know. There he is, folks. Everybody asks, where's Teddy? You still got Teddy? Of course I do. Of course we do, don't we, buddy? Oh, he's lost a bit of weight as well. We've been looking after him. He's lost a bit of weight stuff, and he's no more real health issues. As you know, he did his back, and he couldn't walk for 3 or 4 days, and we actually thought we might have to make that decision that people have to make, that we didn't want to have to make, but thankfully the vet said, look, just give it a few days. It probably, what was it? It was some minor stress fracture or something like that. But he got a couple of weeks rest. We still had to bring him outside to go to the toilet, but it was mad because it was like as if he only had 2 front paws, because obviously he couldn't move his back leg, so he was dragging himself. It was actually funny and heartbreaking at the same time, trying to see him eat his food and all of that. We had to feed him by hand, all of that nonsense. It was actually a really tough time, but he pulled through. So that since then, he's been spoiled rotten since then. So so there he is. Because a lot of people keep asking me about Ted, so I hope you see he's still here. We look after our pets. That's the way it works. So we're going to keep everything going. She's going to have the music on inside. I'm going to be out here streaming, watching the movie, and then hopefully we can keep Ted calm tonight, because the worst of the fireworks will be tonight, and then over the next couple of days, then they'll become less and less, and then Christmas week they'll start again, but they won't be as bad because it's colder and people don't like being out in the cold here. And then New Year's Eve, obviously, then it takes them a couple of months to readjust, and then as he's adjusting, then something else will fucking happen. It's always the bleeding same. Anyway, come and join me later on. I will now come here tomorrow as well. It's very busy because I'm going to be on here tomorrow at 7, which we normally do, but we're going to be finishing early tomorrow. We're going to be finishing at about 20 to 8 tomorrow, because then on the United channel, I have Manchester United versus Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, and that's on at 8 o'clock. Kickoff is on at 8. So I've got 2 streams tomorrow as well. So come and join me for that. Then on Thursday, then we have the movie zone, where we will be doing, which looks like it's going to be Die Hard. I will let you know for definite tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to be Die Hard. So get your copy of Die Hard ready and join us at 8 o'clock on Thursday. On Friday, then, we have Friday night contact. Again, don't know how that's going to work out, because I don't know who's going to be here, but we will be here. Well, I'll be here anyway. I'm pretty sure PD will. Lee has gone on a bit of a hiatus on Twitter again, because it's gotten nasty on that place. But anyway, that's it. And then the weekend, then obviously Man United playing again. We'll be doing a stream there. So busy. And then on top of that, then there's a couple of things happening. That's going to be on the other channel on Rumble, because obviously there are a couple of events happening in Ireland, and I'm going to be attending and video footage and all of that. So look for that as well. So I'll see you all in 45 minutes from now for Halloween. You know, when I even remember this movie coming out as a kid. I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, it's a decent movie, but I mean, like, you know, I prefer Nightmare on Elm Street personally. Freddy Krueger always, you know, I like that movie. I like that franchise actually. Some of the movies I did, but I like them. Halloween franchise just went on forever and ever and ever and ever. Didn't it? Anyway, but we will be watching it because I promised. And you know, as I said, the first movie is not bad. You know, so we'll watch the first movie anyway. Join me 6 o'clock. Right, I'm gonna leave it there because busybody over there wants is dying to say something. So better go. Oh
Well, I'm not going to be able to talk to you for the remainder of
right.
I know your life's so hard.
I know, it is. It is. Stay single.
I can make that happen for you.
Anyway. What was that stupid joke you told me earlier today?
Oh, yeah. Why don't monsters eat ghosts?
Yeah, why don't monsters eat ghosts?
They taste like sheep.
Because they taste like sheep. She actually thinks that's funny.
It'll never not be funny to me. I'm sorry.
You know what I mean? There's your Halloween joke for tonight. Anyway. I mean, it's so stupid that you have to laugh. Why don't monsters eat ghosts? Because they taste sheep.
They taste like sheep.
They taste like sheep instead of taste like shit.
Oh my god, it's not funny when you have to explain it.
No, because it isn't actually
It was
funny, is it?
hilarious.
That's
Say
what
bye.
it's actually like not funny, is it? That's like saying what you call a three-legged donkey, a wonky.
It's a
No,
wonky donkey.
no,
You
it's a
thought that
wonky.
to go.
No. What you call a three-legged donkey?
A wonky donkey.
No, it's a wonky. That's the whole point
No,
of it. You
that's
leave out the donkey part.
You messed up the joke.
I haven't.
You have though. And now you're embarrassing yourself. Stop talking.
I haven't.
I have 40 minutes. Quit wasting my time.
Anyway.
In the chat, support me.
No, there's nobody supporting it.
Because nobody's watching.
There's nobody. There's only 3 people watching.
Oh, good. They won't mind.
Okay. Anyway, I'll see you later. Yeah. Bye. Have a good one.